He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
We are back. Sacha Fabry, ace mortgage agent, was we need to do a show, and we're doing a show. That's why we're here.
Hey,
we need to do a show about what's going on the ground, in the trenches, in the mortgage brokerage world, because there's lots going on, like a ton, and it's great. One of the, it's Angry Mortgage. I know I'm angry about all kinds of shit, like angry at transit, angry at politicians, angry, fuck them all. But, we're in the mortgage business, and it's important that we take things back to what's going on for people who are interested in mortgages. They might have a mortgage renewal coming up. They might be thinking about buying a home. They're interested in the world of real estate and mortgages. And there's a lot going on, a lot.
Fucking busy.
It's so fucking busy. Okay, so we'll break down why it's busy because, often when people hear about the mortgage business being very busy, they say, wait a minute, are these guys fucking nuts? I mean, it's the realtors, they're crying, they're moaning, they're sad. It's busier in real estate world.
Well, most of them are bad at their jobs. So there are a lot of great realtors, but most of them are pretty bad, those are the ones that are crying for the most part.
Certainly, statistics support your observation from the perspective of we have, in a lot of sales businesses, there's an 80-20 rule. There's 20% of the people doing 80% of the business. But I think in real estate, it's more like 1288 or 1090. Okay. It's just, we have in the TREB system, Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, and there's tons of realtors throughout all of Ontario. There's a big shit ton in BC too. And it's not like there's none in Alberta. Yeah. So there's a lot of realtors. People are always correcting me on, I'm supposed to say realtor.
I don't fucking care.
Well, I have told everyone who comments it in the comment section that they should fuck themselves, and then I block them just like that. Okay, because if you want to be the pronunciation police,
I'm sure you do a lot.
You could find business. Another fucking podcast. Okay, that's it. Go ahead, take off. Realtors. Some of them are just do all the business, and most of them do nothing. I mean, I believe in the incredibly worst year of years, 2024. I believe that there might have been 50,000 realtors for the fucking pronunciation fuckers jump all over me again. Realtors.
Yeah.
In Ontario, 50,000 of them did nothing. They had no transaction.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, listen, here's another one.
But they're all experts and know exactly what they're talking about.
Experts at every aspect of real estate, yes.
Yeah.
Including mortgages.
Oh. Got some opinions
Here's
on
a
that.
wild one. I only found this out a couple of days ago. In the TREB system, which is the largest real estate board in the world, it's some months it's the most transactions in the world. Because there's a lot of real estate action in Toronto. And God knows it is the biggest number of agents in the world belong to this thing. I mean, you got guys in New York, Manhattan are scratching their heads saying, there's how many fucking realtors in Toronto? It's unbelievable.
And how many sales?
Oh my God. Anyway, the last month, in terms of total transactions in the TREB system, TREB Real Estate Board, lease transactions exceeded sales.
Yeah. That makes sense. If you can't sell a house, try and rent it.
Well, you got to eat.
That's true.
You got to try to eat.
Yep.
But 50,000, I think last year, 2024, 50,000 realtors did zero. There was no transactions.
Yep.
Realtor. I'm going to start going back to calling them real estate agents. Anyway, so their business is up a bit. If we get that response from real estate agents, their business is up a bit in the last, probably since May. Their business is up a bit, coming off the most dismal, like seriously, 2024 worst year ever.
Yeah, when you say business is up from, the
lowest base, the lowest
ground.
base you could imagine. Yeah,
but it's up.
It's up, and but why is mortgage world so busy? Okay, a couple of reasons. There is a renewal wave,
yes,
which you encounter every day.
Every single day.
Yeah. So there's a renewal wave, and there are, we're a little different. There's Butler Mortgage, there's True North, there's Rate Hub. There are advertising discount. We're discounters. We take the rates that most brokers are offering, we discount them.
Yep.
To offer a lower rate than 90% of our 95% of our colleagues. And I know as soon as I say that, there's going to be 17 comments from mortgage brokers who are saying,
"Fuck you!
Hey, rate isn't everything, you fat fuck." Okay,
it's a big part of it when the economy sucks.
Well, okay, whatever. But anyway, we do have some pretty damn good rates. So, and as the ability to look at rates becomes much more accepted by people, the ability to study rates, the ability to search for rates becomes every year. There's people die who didn't know how to look for a mortgage rate, and they're replaced by a younger group of buyers who absolutely know how to look for everything online.
Well, yeah, we live in an age where people just Google best mortgage rates Canada and they go from there, right? And then, relationship plays an aspect for sure. So does professionalism, so does advice. But at the end of the day, people are going to focus on how much they pay every single month, right? So
because you have to have a basis to start.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's face it.
Well, 20 years ago, people didn't even know what a basis point was for the most part. Now everyone with the Google does.
It's so goddamn true.
It's
with the Google.
Yeah, people are going to make fun of that one. I look forward to it.
Yeah, that is true. So and it is kind of amazing in its way. Mm-hmm. It is kind of amazing because very deep financial terms have slipped into common parlance.
Yeah.
Because you can find out anything you want. And if you want to know about mortgage rates, you're going to learn the term basis points or bips, or sometimes people accuse me of being an idiot, beeps, but let's call them bips, okay? That's a 100th of a basis point, okay? Which just shows you how focused people are on getting the best rate, that they're actually going to talk about 100th of 1% is going to be meaningful to them.
Well, there's also all these online calculators they can use now, right? And so everyone comes with a baseline assumption of what they're hoping for, right?
And they're right. 100%. People are jumping on a calculator. Hey, what's the best rate we can get? Oh, let me look at my phone. Yes, we can get 369. Actually, you cannot.
ChatGPT, where's the best rate?
What is the best rate?
Actually, I get a surprising number of clients call and say, "Hey, I put in ChatGPT, who has the best rates in Canada, and your name always comes in the top. So, we should start sending some referral fees to OpenAI."
Actually, I'll give a friend of mine, Dan Eisner, some credit. He has Dan Eisner, True North, has taken the time to learn how to crack ChatGPT. That's their very strong technical side of rates at True North. I think Rate Hub is still very much the top dog, but I sometimes suspect Dan makes more money. But kind of leaning that way. Of course, the thing about Rate Hub is their boss, their old boss, who's a friend of mine, James Laird, who's since subsequently sold out his shares in the company. I think he's still on the board, but he was a ferocious competitor and a very, very smart guy. And the new CEO does not live in Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah, the new CEO lives in San Francisco. Never going to leave. And at the end of the day, I always question everybody. Just sort of in a whimsical way, I say, "How the fuck that work?" Okay,
it's a fair question.
How are you trying to be the leading mortgage
in Canada
brokerage operator in Canada living in San Francisco. No, I like San Francisco. I do. I mean, there's a lot of, you got to know where to go in San Francisco because you can easily walk down.
Don't go to the wrong bathhouse.
No, set aside that. I don't even care about that stuff. But you can actually walk down the street in San Francisco because I've done it. You walk in a very nice part of, it's a nice part of town, but you just keep walking and pretty soon there are people mainlining smack right on the sidewalk. And then you walk another block and someone is naked as a jaybird pooping. Okay. So it's got its issues, San Francisco. But there are some places in San Francisco that are just beautiful. It's a beautiful, and Napa Valley is only an hour and a half's drive. It's terrific. So there's things about San Francisco that are fantastic, and there's things about San Francisco that are borderline frightening. But it's still a hell of a town. But that's where he lives. So beats the fuck out of me how you can figure out anything about how to run a company in Canada if you only fly here 7 times a year or 8 times a year. I guess the claim is Zoom can do everything, right? I mean, you do everything by Zoom, right?
Well, I guess. I mean, look, it's good for us. We have some major competition with some of the companies that you've mentioned.
Absolutely.
And Rate Hub's very competitive as well.
Great competitors, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy busy right now. I was thinking about adopting the Japanese method of just sleeping under the desk.
That's the Elon Musk method.
Oh, is it? Yeah, okay.
Elon Musk sleeps in the factory when he's got a real push on at Tesla, and he sleeps at the rocket ship place. He sleeps there if he's got a lot on the go. Okay. He doesn't own a house.
All those alimony payments.
Do you know that? Do you know he doesn't own a house?
I didn't know that, no.
No, he doesn't own a home. He just stays at random people's places, hotels. Apparently he bought a house in Texas because SpaceX has moved a lot of their operations to Texas, along with Tesla. And there's a house the company owns in Austin somewhere that he sleeps at sometimes. But yeah, I don't know if it's really alimony. I think it's just child support. I'm not sure if it's alimony. Okay. I think he has 18 kids or something.
And counting. Yeah, probably.
There's probably something going on right now. But at the end of the day, he sleeps. Sometimes he sleeps in the office for sure. But no, don't do that. Do not fucking do that. Do not sleep in our office.
Now he catches on. Wait a second.
Do not fucking sleep in our office, please. Jesus. Okay. Yeah. But yes, it is very busy. And so I want to put a shout out to every sort of mortgage borrower who's, looking at renewing their mortgage in the next weeks and months. And by the way, don't leave it to weeks. It's got to try to hit 60 days, please. I'm begging you, hit 60 days.
Yeah.
And people are buying homes right now all across Canada. It is extremely busy for many reasons. One of the reasons is that a lot of lenders don't like to staff up when it's busy. They understand that there's waves and cycles, and they'd rather not have to keep people when it's slow. So they run at the bone. Some lenders, not naming names, they run right at the bone. And when things get busy, things back up.
Yeah.
So here's a public service announcement to everybody who's looking for a mortgage in Canada right now. This being the first week of September. It's busy as fuck.
It's fucking busy.
And you will wait. You'll wait. Hey, yes, I bought this house. Can I get? I've got my condition of financing coming up tomorrow. Can I please get an approval? And you will hear.
Fuck no.
Well, you will get. You could hear fuck no, but I think if you're talking to a bank, they will say, "Oh yes, we will definitely get you an approval." And tomorrow, right? We will get you an approval. Well, okay, but you haven't answered my tomorrow thing, right? A condition of financing. We'll get you an approval.
Yeah, to everyone buying a house or who is renewing soon, please, please, please leave extra time right now. Because in slower times, our absolute bare minimum is, 10 to 12 days for a purchase, something like that. It's pushing 15, 16 right now just because of the bank volumes.
Or 3 weeks. Exactly. Because it's really busy, and the banks do not staff up.
Well, our one underwriter I was talking to yesterday, they had 60 plus files themselves. Other people were going on vacation. They're going to take them all on. It's just, and if you have a refinance or renewal, those always get looked at after the purchases because
they take priority. Yeah,
you're not likely going to lose your house on the refinance or the renewal. It obviously does happen, but they don't take priority. So please. 8 weeks for refinance renewal, 15, 20 business days for a purchase.
If you can. But please keep it in mind. I mean, if you wait till 2 weeks before your renewal's up, there could be consequences you don't like. So simple as that. Okay, so we know it's very, very busy. We're trying to manage expectations a little bit. Let's talk about what's going on. Like what is the product mix that's driving the mortgage business very, very busy today?
Yeah, for sure. I was a little bit surprised in the last couple of weeks to see an uptick in purchases, which, it tracks, most of them being CMHC purchases.
Is that, but of course, we have a very good special on right now.
Of course. Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, our marketing is very, very good. But I do think what's probably happening is we're seeing a softening in the housing prices. And there are a lot of instances where people who were restrained by down payment, for example, could only do 5%. Finally, hey, we have that 5% now. Let's take a look. There's some of that. And there's people who were waiting who just didn't want to buy the crazy expensive detached house, who now it's a little bit more reasonable for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should, you're absolutely correct. We should emphasize a couple of things. That this bump in purchases that you refer to is illustrated by CMHC. CMHC has indicated that their stats show there has been a substantial growth in the number of first-time buyers buying at this time. Last month, previous month, this month. So where does that come from? It can be a deceptive statistic because the reality is the first-time buyer group is blowing up because there are no rental investors.
Yeah.
There's not. We'll get to what the category that still is to do with rental in a minute. But in terms of people, there's no guy or gal or couple who used to think about, well, I'm going to pick up another condo or I'm going to pick up another duplex. Or No.
Only the leftovers. The closings you see that are rentals.
They're pre-construction.
They're all pre-cons who are either stuck or...
It's a very important thing to consider because when we look at 2021 in the GTA, 45% of all buyers were investors.
Oh, yeah.
We're buying houses, condos, you name it, okay? That's and that number of people who are buying, again, we've got to differentiate between pre-construction coming to close, which is a whole different category, but brand new buyers of buying properties as an investment is extinct.
Yeah.
That does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's going to be a few specialty experts at doing rentals saying, no, you're so fucking wrong. I can show you a sixplex you can cash flow on, blah, blah, blah. Just shut the fuck up. Okay. No, I don't want to see your fucking sixplex. Okay. I'm talking about wide, big swaths of the economy, big numbers. 45% in 2021. Fuck all, nothing now. That's a big difference. Okay. Yeah. So the group of first-time buyers has to expand because the investors are gone.
Yep.
And move-up buyers have a problem. The move-up buyer has the problem of, not to say that the people who are old and just want to sell and rent, they're fine.
They got a lot of fucking problems, yeah.
But the move-up buyer, and we'll talk about their biggest problem, but the move-up buyer is concerned that if they don't have to move up, they should wait until the price of their house goes back up again. So that thought runs through their minds. So we don't even talk to those people. But let's talk about the first-time buyer because it is interesting, okay? By the way, folks, I should preface by saying anyone who thinks the price of houses is going to suddenly rebound in Ontario is very fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. The price of real estate is not going to rebound in Ontario in October, November, December, January.
Not with our jobs numbers.
No, not with the jobs numbers we're seeing, not with the economy the way we're looking at it. By the way, crazy stat. Compliments to the guy who, I'm sure his name is Joe Flynn, is the guy who found this. We believe, through his searching, that 3% of all listings in the TREB system may be power of sale.
I believe it. I've seen a few.
You've seen a few? You've seen some come through, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which compares with 2021, when they may have been less than 10 basis points of the listings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people are still in denial. I've had people saying, what can I do? My house is currently in power of sale. Can you help me? And then there's still, and I've had a few where they were trying to say, listen, I think my house is worth this and the appraisers are wrong. And I have to have that conversation saying, I understand why you think that your house is worth that. Unfortunately, that's not what the banks use. You know what? There's no, and I have to be a bit soft because these are people losing their house, right? But yeah, there are a lot of people in power of sale, and I've spoken to probably one a week in the past few months,
which is a revelation compared with previous times.
Not for this type of brokerage. Yeah, absolutely.
No. So it's a, and by the way, losing your home is tragedy. Like, it's tragedy for everybody. Again, we can sort of categorize the house flippers and the investors out. I mean, they took a financial risk.
It's the nature of investment.
But people who are just living in that house and that's their only home, this is a real legitimate tragedy.
Yeah.
It's really hard on everybody. So let's think about these first-time buyers. You indicated, it's interesting, you indicated that many of them come to us with not a big down payment.
No.
These are people who literally have been watching the market, wanting to buy a home. Because listen, folks, I keep saying this constantly. People want to buy a house, okay? As much as Mark Carney thinks the whole world wants to be, or the whole of Canada wants to be lifetime renters, people want to buy a goddamn house. Okay, they want to. It's their goal. It's young people's goal. It's young people. Young people feel cheated by the fact that their parents found it easy to do, much easier. I know every fucking parent will say, "No, it was really hard." Shut the fuck up. You bought a house for $195,000.
It's the Western dream, of course.
Yeah. It's their dream, absolutely. So when they see there's an opportunity, they want to jump in.
Yeah.
And without question, even though I believe house prices in Ontario will indeed go lower.
Yeah.
Very
likely.
Almost in every category.
Yeah.
Okay. God knows the condos are absolutely fucked. Okay?
Condos will go down. Detached will go down. It cascades. We've talked about it.
But there's the last reading I took of price reduction. It had spread to all categories. Even Central 416, which has been very strong, is experiencing a pullback, a reduction in price. Finally. So it's actually spread to all types. Detached, semis, towns, condos doomed, but it's spread everywhere now in the last 2 months. So if I'm a young couple, who's thinking that let's find a way, and that news reaches them as they're paying attention, this news reaches them that prices are down, why not take a look? And maybe that down payment that we've been trying to scrape together, but it was not enough, suddenly it's enough.
Yeah.
Okay. But you tell me you still see a lot of parental help.
Yeah, there's one, one example was as little as $8,000, helping with the closing costs.
Wow.
Some are still doing, a large portion. Now, the ones who are getting huge help from parents, those are the people buying, first-time home buyers, but they're still purchasing in the $1 to $1.5 million category, and they've got a huge down payment themselves. Their parents are going to help with huge down payment as well, and so, those are the people where it's the big help. But yeah, most people, it's just a small amount here and there.
And it's a lot of low down payment. Like, it's not 20%.
Very few.
10%, it's 5%, it's 8%. It's and it's people who young people who just feel strongly that this might be their chance. I'm just hoping those people don't think there's going to be a sudden increase in price, because I worry sometimes that they're listening to the realtor who is saying, hey, the TikTok realtor, the Instagram realtor who says,
I have some bones to pick.
Wow. The market is shifting in Ontario. It's become a buyer's market, which will naturally mean that it will become a seller's market in a few months, and the prices and you won't be able to afford it. You better get it now. I mean, please, fuck all of you who say that. Every single one of you, fuck yourselves, okay? But it is not unreasonable for people to buy a house who really, really want to buy, or they've just had a child, or there's a million reasons. And people do want to buy a house. Young people do want to buy a house. If this is a time that they can do it, even if it's a condo, just understand the condo is going to go down in price. It's not going to go up in price.
Well, and there's the risk. If you put 5% down on a condo and it continues to go down and you ever need to exit for whatever reason or switch, it's difficult.
You got to be committed to stay.
You got to stay for a while.
So this is what, if I could just give one message, we're going to give a couple of messages today, but I'll give one message to everybody who's buying today. you need to be on a 10-year view.
Yep.
Okay. There is no, we're going to buy this one, and then in 3 years it's going to be up 25%. Then we're going to buy the next one. Do not think that. Okay. No. Everybody who's buying today, you need to think about a 7 to 10 year timeline.
Yep.
You're going to be there, folks.
Absolutely.
You're going to be staying there.
Yep.
If you buy a condo and and you think, well, in 3 years I'll jump out. Well, in 3 years you might find the condo's worth less than you paid for it.
Oh yeah.
10 years you might be okay. Maybe. Maybe you may be okay. But do not think that you're buying anything as a stepping stone. Anybody who's buying a stepping stone today, the step is 10 fucking years. Okay. And 7 years, 8 years, it's long.
While we're on the topic of bad realtor advice, I want to jump in on something if I can here. I'm getting really fucking sick of seeing this over the last couple of weeks, and you've talked about it a couple of times in a couple of days.
Oh man, yeah.
Please, for the love of God, stop telling people to buy a house before they have sold their other one, and everything will be fine. And it's not even in the realm of just bad advice. It's borderline, why are you telling people mortgage advice when you are nowhere near qualified to tell them that everything will be fine? Because for the last few weeks, I've had at least once a week, people come to me and say, well, I bought this new house, it's closing soon, and the down payment's coming from this other house, but that other house hasn't sold yet. What do I do? Or, the worst ones are these people who are, in their retirement era. They've bought a sizable new property and they thought, I'll just rent out the existing one and, everything will be fine. And there are people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars of deposits because realtors are giving bad advice. And I'm sick of having to break that to people that there's nothing I can do.
You're absolutely right. We're seeing it with a very, very, very consistently. We've had incidents where extremely solid people who we've arranged bridges for, and then even those bridges collapsed because the people who said they would buy the house ended up not being able to buy the house. But we're seeing an uptick in what you just described. And just again, folks, it's okay. Real estate agent. I'm gonna make a move. I want to move up, and I want to move down. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, and I got a house here. And what should I do? Should I sell this house first, and should I buy the new one? And the real estate agent says, no one does that. You buy the new one. Okay, but then I won't have any trouble selling my old one, the house I'm living in now. Oh no, hell no, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Let me give you a market evaluation on that.
Fucking market evaluations. Don't trust them. They're 50 to 100 grand higher always.
Always. And how about 200 grand higher. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. Okay. They want to make you happy. Realtor wants to make you happy.
Well, and even when you have people who think they're playing it safe by saying, well, the purchase of this new property is conditional on the sale of the other one. Okay. What happens when you thought you were going to get 100 grand from the sale of that property and now it's 20, 30, 40, 50?
Well, if you have a purchase that's conditional on sale of the old property, you really have nothing to worry about. But a lot of times when that date comes, you've given yourself like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to sell the old house and you hasn't sold, but your realtor keeps telling you, we're just going to make a tiny adjustment and then for sure it's going to sell. And sometimes you waive your condition.
Yeah.
Okay. But look, at the end of the day, this is the key. Sacha said it perfectly. Whenever you make that decision to make that move, that you're going to buy the next house, you must sell the old house if you live in Ontario. You must sell the old house.
Absolutely.
And by the way, the Calgary market is falling now. The Calgary market prices are dropping. I couldn't believe it
because all the Ontario investors who bought there are trying
all
to
that
exit.
Shit. Okay, so but look, it used to be this was 2021 and your real estate agent said, just go buy the house. You gotta have a place to live in a hot market and we will sell that house you have, no problem. He was telling the truth. She was telling the truth. Now it's a fucking lie. Okay?
Yeah. I've had to add distant family relatives to a mortgage to make it work. I've had to tell people to sell a house at a loss just to be able to ratio for the new one so the builder doesn't sue them. I've had people who flat out lost $200,000 in deposit, all from that bad advice from the realtors.
Yeah, look, folks, and again, it's not everybody. This is a relatively small number of people who are impacted by this. But my God, are they impacted?
Yeah.
We have people crying. They're crying on the phone. There's tears. Okay.
Well, when you're about to retire, you lose $200,000.
Yeah, it's meaningful. Very, very meaningful. So that's our advice. Please, if you know of anybody who's entering into a real estate transaction, your friend, your relative, your kids, your parents, just tell them, you got to sell the old house first.
Yeah.
The house you're in, you must sell. Do it. Do not listen to the real estate agent. No. Okay. Don't do it. I know there's a bunch of real estate agents pissed off, but I could give a fuck. That's just the truth.
I care more about people not losing their life savings or their deposits or being homeless.
It is.
We're getting sued.
It is just much more sensible today to be conservative. All right, so let's talk about other bad news that we had, which I talked about it on YouTube on the weekend, but we'll take a dive into it right now. We have the horrific job report for Canada.
66,000 jobs in August.
Yeah. Bad. 40,000 previous month. So we're over 100,000 of job losses in just 2 months' time. Completely predictable. By the way, as I said, a personal tragedy for everybody who has to go through it. But what's the Bank of Canada going to do? From today, this morning to the afternoon. Last week, this morning to the afternoon. The jump was from as low as a 40%, 25 to 40% chance the Bank of Canada will cut their rate on the 17th of September. At one point, it hit 90% it will cut. Mm-hmm. By the way, when I talk about this analysis, it's traders, it's people who are professionally analyze this thing, and it's a synthesis of all their thoughts. It's just not one person calling that shot. It's a bunch of people feeding it in. 90% chance of a cut. At some point last week.
We always advise on the balance of probabilities, right? That's one of your favorite expressions.
So, will there be a cut on the 17th? Bank of Canada governors are universally late to cut. It's absolutely true. Like for instance, right now, there's somebody preparing an analysis to say that Tiff Macklin's an idiot. And it's possible he is. I know.
Careful.
Tiff Macklin is very much a book smart guy. I mean, he just is. Okay.
I think he decides things once like 95% of people are in agreement on something, and everyone is screaming. For
I put a YouTube up on exactly your point.
Oh, did you? I didn't see that yet.
That indeed, he is so much better off to be late from his perspective, because if you're early, everybody just tells you you're a dick.
Yeah.
If you're late, Bank of Canada governors are always late. Every central bank governor is typically late. They're so fucking late in the States that the President Trump's trying to get rid of them. Okay, I mean, he's doing everything in his power to change the Federal Reserve Board and get the interest rates that he wants. Okay, he thinks they're that late, and they are late. I mean, the unemployment's rising in the United States as well. So, and it's house sales are in a tough spot there, same way they are here. So for different reasons, but yes, will Bank of Canada cut the 17th? Probably yes, but you know what? I don't want to even think hard about that. I just want everybody to understand this. There's never one cut.
Yeah,
never. You can go back and study the history of Bank of Canada decisions. There's never one cut. So it's going to be 2 cuts.
Yep.
And whether it starts this September 17th or it happens in October, there's going to be 2 cuts. We're going to have 2 cuts this year. It's as simple as that. So, because my firm belief is the next employment report is not going to reverse the trend.
No, it's going to be worse.
Tragically. I don't know if it's going to be worse. 66,000 is pretty fucking bad.
Well, we have seasonal unemployment that happens every year too, right? So
there's that.
That's just going to add to the normal.
All I'm saying is we ain't going to see 100,000 positive. Okay. No. It's not going to go up.
No.
So the Bank of Canada governor will cut, and whether it's September or October, it doesn't make any difference. If looking for a variable rate, you're making a decision based on what the totality is. So let's talk about that for a second. Variable versus fixed. So you're right on the front lines.
Yep.
You're hearing this discussion of this choice between variable and fixed. What are you hearing from people?
Variable has always, at least for the last several months, been the whisper in the background and where people start the conversation. And then inevitably, it sort of ends in the sound advice, at least I think it's sound, which is if you can get something in the 3% range for a fixed term, you should probably take it, unless there are specific situations to you. That whisper has gotten louder.
So touch on that specific situation. Why? There's a specific situation where variable is probably mainly the right choice. So.
Oh, if you have an idea that you are going to sell in the next 3 to 5 years, take a variable.
Oh, I'm saying sell in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? Yeah.
If you're saying, we're going to do something. I'm going to have this job change, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Then absolutely you should have a variable. If you're going to be decidedly certain that something's going to happen with your house, sale, massive reno, job change, whatever the hell you're doing. But if you think that there's a reasonable chance that the mortgage is going to need to change drastically, be paid out, or whatever the case may be, or a whole new mortgage is required, take variable.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you're always guaranteed the low penalty.
Yep.
That's the simple truth.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, that being said, variable is going to become a stronger topic of conversation in the coming months with the expected cuts. And so I suspect we're going to have a lot more deep dives on people individually, on their choices, on whether they want to ride it out for the long term, short term, what they're looking for. And I do still think, look, if you can get something mid-high threes, take it. Take it for a fixed, personally. Because the question always is for people who want to take a temporary variable and then switch into a fixed. Okay, when you're ready to switch, you are not going to get whatever your variable rate is. You're going to be offered the posted fixed rate.
So let's break that down, because you're very, very factual in what you're saying. So, I would even throw out the idea that, I'm calling for 2 cuts this year, I wouldn't be shocked as hell if there's another 2 cuts next year.
Oh, yeah.
We could see a 1% reduction by the end of Q1 next year, or middle of Q2 2026. And that's big. Like, if we think about it right now, if somebody had a 4.25 variable rate, they're going to have a 3.25 rate.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. Okay. But what Sacha said is the key thing to consider, that we're thinking about a 6 or a 9 month sprint to lower rates.
Yep.
Which I think is very realistic. I would not be shocked if 1% came off prime in Canada, or the Bank of Canada prime.
It's certainly possible now.
Not
it's on the table.
At all.
Yeah.
Not shocked at all, because the depth of bad news that could develop in the next several months, God forbid, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just that much difficulty between, people say that they've moved off thinking about Trump. Like, pollsters tell us that people aren't it just wears on you. It's so fucking crazy every week, some new crazy shit.
But everything is Trump related. Like, people caring about jobs, the economy, that's all still related to Trump. It's just, okay, let's just not say his name and let's focus on the effect, right?
And the effect is not good.
Not good.
Okay. The effect is that, everybody who said, no, I don't think they could ever move all those auto plants everywhere. Well, guess what? Auto production is in bad state.
They sure as shit can pause it, though.
They can pause it. They can think about it. I mean,
EV production might be paused, depending, right?
Well, so, it is. They're backing off the mandates because they know they're doomed, but they always were doomed.
Yeah, and
but let's just dig through it here. We've got the word austerity came out of the finance minister. Okay, so when you hear that word austerity, if you work for the government, you should be scared shitless.
Yeah. Okay,
unless you're very, very high up. Even then, you might get forced retirement.
Contract employees are scared right now.
Everybody. Okay, so when you hear those words, when a government minister utters the word austerity, be frightened if you work in the federal government.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's only one kind of austerity. That's job cuts.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only kind there is, okay? It means that sometimes even the whole program you work in may be removed. Like, we don't know. There's people working on the dental care program and continuing to ramp it up.
Yep.
What if just, hey, we can't afford it.
we're not going to cancel it, but it's on pause.
or we're not going to increase the coverage, or we're going to maybe cut back the coverage, and we're not going to need as many people. Look, here's what I assure you: there will, if they use the word austerity, they're not going to change their minds, especially with the bad GDP numbers in Canada and all the idea that we're going to spend 5% on defense, which is off the fucking charts. Okay.
Well, we're also in an economic war with every large world economy.
Although Carney will tell you that Europe loves us, but at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to see any huge bump in European trade.
Yeah.
What we do know is that companies are closing. I mean, and I'm not being an alarmist. If I was a company involved in manufacturing and 60% of my business went to Canada and 40% to the States, I would have to set up a whiteboard and start to think about whether I'm better off in the States.
Yeah.
I would have to think about, hey, if I moved there, can I get lower costs of certain things? If I moved to Western New York, could I get some help from the government for a few years? Answer is yes. Is the factory space or warehouse space cheaper in Buffalo than it is in Toronto? Yeah, by like half or
Absolutely.
a third or 2/3 down or like whatever the fuck. Okay.
Well, and
are the wages higher? So people don't know this, but the plant that closed for Crown Royal, the famous crazy Doug Ford trying to pour whiskey out, the bottling plant that closed. The plant that Diageo, the parent company of Crown Royal, is building in Alabama, it's so cheap to run, it's stupid. Okay, first of all, I'm not criticizing the union, but what I'm saying is Alabama's a right-to-work state. There's no unions or no effective unions of any description. So there's no unionized workers. Alabama, the state, is going to give these guys no state tax for X amount of time. The region where they're planning on building the bottling plant is going to give them no property tax for who the fuck knows, like a decade or more. Okay,
and I cannot help but think that the board at that company cannot be so short-sighted as to not think, well, what happens if the LCBO cuts us off? And I bet someone has done a report saying even if we are restricted in Ontario, the savings will be offset by the loss.
And and if people want to drink rye, they're going to want to buy. And by the way, Crown Royal's a Canadian product, for Christ's sake. It's grown in Canada, distilled in Canada. They're going to keep shipping bottles in Canada out of Quebec bottling plant. It's as Canadian as you can fucking get. Doug, I know this is hard for people to remember. I appreciate that it's tough. For Premier Ford, you don't really understand any of this shit. But anyway, let's move on. So this phenomenon of jobs quietly leaving, that was one announcement. For every announcement, because it's over 50 employees, it's over 100 employees, you must make
tons of small manufacturers.
But there's 45 employee plants, there's 25 employee plants, there's 20 employee plants, and those people are all scratching their heads thinking, am I better off in the U.S. if I got a bunch of customers in the U.S.? I mean, should I think about it? And just the amount of people who, for instance, this people don't know this because our government keeps talking about reaching a settlement with the U.S. But in January of 2026, the United States may choose to announce the end of CUSMA, the end of the free trade treaty.
They'll rip it up.
If they rip it up, they have to give a year's notice. Okay,
they're going to though.
But I believe they will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they use that year for negotiation. That's their modus operandi for everything else.
And the negotiation won't end well. Okay. It will not end well.
And all this PR coming from the federal government saying we have the best trade deal in the world with the U.S. compared to everyone else. It's only because of that contract, which is expiring soon, which will be torn up. Everything else that's outside of it is being hit hard.
So what we have to think about is that we have a very delicate economy, and we're not the only economy in the world in a rough shape. Okay, people should be aware of this. In Britain, the British have a lot of problems. They actually, weirdly, in the face of 3.6% inflation, cut their prime rate, cut their central bank rate in June by 0.25% in the face of that 3.8% inflation. And yet their long-term bond yield rates are just going nuts, okay? Because Britain has a big problem. They overspend.
Yeah.
And they're not like Canada. Nobody goes to Britain and says, well, I guess you got a lot of oil and gas, right? So no, we did have oil and gas, but we sucked it all up and pissed all the money away on windmills and fucking other bullshit, okay? Okay, so you're not like Norway, who saved up $1 trillion and then $1.7 trillion. You didn't save anything. Nope, spent every fucking cent, and now the gas is gone and the oil's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go after it anymore because we want to be green. I think you're fucking green. You're stupid. So you must have a lot of minerals or shit or something you're doing here that you can sell to the rest of the world. Nope, we got fuck all. That's for countries like Canada and Africa and South America. We got fucking nothing here to sell. We got no energy, no minerals. We got nothing. We got some coal, but they shut all those down.
Yeah.
Okay. And we got fuck all. Oh, and we invented domestic nuclear power. Do you know that? Britain invented they were the first operating nuclear plant in the world. Okay. For power. But naturally, because they decided to go green, because folks, if you go woke, you do go broke. So people say, well, that's not true, Ron. Norway's very woke. Yep, but they're still sucking gas and oil and selling it, and they saved up $1.7 trillion.
Yeah,
because it's like only 8 fucking million of them. Okay, so when you got a tiny population and all that oil and gas, go ask the Saudis. Things can work out. Okay?
Yeah.
So
long story short, you're saying that, you've said it lots of times, we need to rely on our resource sector. It's the thing
for now we have
us.
to. But the interesting part about Britain is when they are going to run in the fall, they're going to have a budget too in the fall. And it's suspected they're going to run the most ball-busting deficit you could ever imagine. Like 130 to 140 billion pound sterling deficit, which is like 195 million US deficit.
Wow.
That's fucked up. Okay. Like, and by the way, no end in sight. I know we have deficits in Canada, but at least we could sell some people some oil and gas and some other shit. They got nothing. Okay. So I keep coming back to this, not to be an alarmist at all, because I only believe the probability of sovereign debt crisis in some country is only about 15 to 20%, which is off from fucking
it's not nothing
5% or 3% 10 years ago, but it's not nothing, and it means you have to keep it in your head when you're thinking about your future. So when I'm suggesting, and by the way,
we're back to rates.
We're back to rates. Okay, right. So by the way, folks, if there's a sovereign debt crisis somewhere in the world, because there is people are actually starting to estimate what it would take the International Monetary Fund to bail out Britain.
Yeah.
And it's like $750 billion. So you got to you got a group of members of that IMF club who've got to agree to that. Okay. So who knows?
More problems.
Bottom line is this: sovereign debt crisis. What happens? Really, to simplify everything, interest rates go up. They go up until they get fixed, because it's the same thing that happened in the world financial crisis before the U.S. figured out how to fix their banks with TARP.
And banks and lenders call in everything.
But eventually it does get fixed. At least it has in the past. But while it's going on, and that could be 8 months or a year, who the hell knows, while a sovereign debt crisis, that's when a country can't pay its bills, folks. That's why when a country's bonds, like Argentina used to do it every 10 years. Okay. They just, we're not going to pay you anymore. We issued you government bonds. We're not going to fucking pay.
Jesus Christ.
So that's why Argentina had so many problems. They're doing a little better now. But when a country like Britain does that, although, and many people don't know this, but back in 1974, they had to do it. They actually did this once already. Went to the IMF for some help. But if they have to do it now, the size of their economy now, and the kind of delicate place the world is in, sovereign debt crisis in a country like Britain, or who knows, some other country, will trigger a huge bump in bond yields. It'll trigger. It will get fixed in all likelihood eventually, but if you're caught in that 8-month shitstorm or 10-month shitstorm that it's getting fixed, you are devastated.
Yeah.
And it's very scary. So once again, it comes back to, if you can get for a 3 or 4 or 5 year fixed rate for 3.89, 3.69, 3.79, just take it. just take it.
Yeah.
I know variable is very interesting because it is going to go down. We've just said it. But people, like, you're getting a mortgage for more than just the next 9 months. And I told people when to take variable. I told people in 2023, take variable. It's going to go way down.
Yeah.
I was 100% right. It worked out for everybody who listened. And now when I've been telling people for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, if you can find a rate that starts with 3, take it. I hope people listened and will continue to listen. So that's important to understand. So that's where we're at. Again, main messages from today. Sell your fucking house before you buy a new house.
Please.
Do not listen to what anybody tells you. No matter if, I don't care if it's the greatest realtor in the world, don't do it. Okay? And even though variable is going to get a lot better, don't ignore fixed. It's got its purposes. Thank you, Sacha.
Thanks, Sean.
See you next time, folks.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.